Okay, here we are, chapter 4.7, divide using repeated subtraction. What is repeated subtraction? Question mark. Well, let's talk about what multiplication is first, and then we can see how it works to divide or for division. So this is just a quick refresher. When you multiply, we add repeatedly. 3 times 5 is the same thing as 5 plus 5 plus 5. We know that 3 times 5 is 15, and we know that 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 15. This is just 5 added together 1, 2, 3 times. That's why this is called times, because we do it 3 times. 3 times is how many times we add 5. All right, that's just for multiplication. Multiplication is repeated addition. Believe it or not, division is also. So we're going to take just a quick look at that. For instance, if we have 16 divided by 4, we can just subtract and see how many times we have to subtract. So that's, let's start with 16 minus 4. 16 minus 4 is 12. That's 1 time. Minus 4, 12 minus 4 is 8. That's 2 times. Minus 4, 8 minus 4 is 4, and that's the 3rd time. Minus 4, 4 minus 4 is 0, so that's the 4th time. Okay, so 4, if we know we count to 4 when we divide it by 4, and I did it 4 times, so 16 divided by 4 is equal to 4. This is just repeated subtraction. Now, it's not necessarily the quickest way, but it is a not bad way to think about it, and it's great to recognize that subtraction goes with division and that addition goes with multiplication. Let's look at one more method. Oh, I wanted a straight line. Okay. The other method has to do with, it's not really another method, but we're going to look at number lines. We often do that. Bear with me here. Okay, so if this is, I think I need one more actually. I'm not sure, but I'm going to go ahead and draw this one and add one more of these notches before I switch back over to something else. Alright, say this is 0, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to have a hard time, so I'm just going to go 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oops, I needed one more. I had purple. Let's go purple. And then come back to green. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is 16. Okay, so we can start at 16. If we're dividing by 4, that means we're going to go starting at 16, go 1, 2, 3, back here. And we're going to go jump back 4. Okay, and that's like once. We're going to jump 1, 2, 3, back another 4. Like that. And that would be a second time. And we're going to jump back another 4. And that would be a third time, and we're going to jump back all the way to 0, which is 4 more, and that's a 4th time. So using a number line, starting at 16, we could jump by 4s. We would see that we would jump 4 times, or there'd be 4 groups of 4. And so 16 divided by 4 is equal to 4. So you could see that a number line works the same way. You can also see that we had 16, 12, 8, 4, and 0, and here we have 16. This would be 12, 11, 10, 9, and then there's 8, and then there's 4, and then there's 0. And it matches what we had here, 16, 12, 8, 4, and 0. All of these things kind of go together to make a neat pattern. All right, so that's all you're doing today. They're going to ask you to do some things. You can use counters sometimes if you want. The first one, they want you to begin with 72 counters. If I can find my pencil here. There we go, 72 counters. And you're dividing by 6. So it's 72 divided by 6, but they want you to use repeated subtraction. And if you had counters, you'd have 72 little tiles or little marbles or little beads or little counter thingies. And you would just take them 6 at a time and subtract them, or literally pull them away from whatever you had left until you ran out. And you can do that. I think they both take a long time. And so this is sort of I want you to do this though. This is sort of an exercise. We're gonna subtract 6 over and over again. 72 take away 6 is 66. Take away 6 is 60. Take away 6 is 54. And so on. And you just keep doing this down your paper. Can you get to 0? That's one of the questions. Yes, you can. Of course you can. Eventually you'll get to 0. Now, if this goes in evenly, you'll get to exactly 0. If it doesn't go in evenly, you might have a couple left over. 72 divided by 6 is 12. So you're going to get there evenly. There's not any leftovers. But if you were to do 73 divided by 6, you would get 12 remainder 1. You'd have one little tile left over. And then if you subtracted that, you'd end up at 0. Or if you subtracted 6, you'd get it to a negative number. Okay. So sometimes you can do something bigger. Now this is where I really want you to pay attention. What if we wanted to do a multiple of 6? So remember that you have 6 multiples are 12, 18, and so on, and they keep going. The nice multiple of 6 is 6 times 10, which is 60. All right, so if we did 72 divided by 6, and we stretched that out into our problem, 72, we could do minus 6. But we could also do minus 60, because that's the same. 60 is 10 times 6. So instead of doing 6, we're going to do 60. And we know that that's 10 times. Okay, so this is going to show you a little shortcut. 72 minus 60 is 12. Okay, now I can subtract 6 from that, and that would be my 11th time. And that would be 6. And if I subtracted 6 from that, it would be my 12th time. And that would be 0. So you can see that we get to 0 by subtracting 6 12 times. And we can do it the long way by just subtracting 6, or we can use this shortcut by using a multiple of 6, especially the one that's 10 times 6. 10 times 6 is 60. We know that's 10 times. So we can just skip that by doing all 10 at once, and then subtracting 6 the last few times to get down to the 0. All right, so I want you to do that. Here's an example. 64 divided by 4. Okay, well, you know that 4 times 10 is 40. So when we set it up, we're going to go 64, and we're going to subtract. Instead of just subtracting 4, we're going to start by subtracting 40, which is 10 times. Or you can just start writing the numbers like that. And then that leaves 24. Now, I could recognize, I could just subtract 4, I could subtract 4, I could subtract 4, or I could recognize that 24 is a multiple of 4. 4 times 6 is 24. So I'm going to just subtract 24, and I'm going to call it 6 more, 10 plus 6 is 16 times. It could be better to just call it 6 times, and then like we did up here, and then add these two together to get 16 times. Okay, you get a total of 16. When you have 10 times, which is 40, and 6 times, which is 24, and you get all the way down to 0. So 64 divided by 4 is equal to 16. I know it's a little confusing, but I also know that you can do this. This is actually a really cool thing, and you will enjoy it once you get accustomed to it. Have a great day.